Sweet, eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Humans like us have this horrible tendency to be complacent about anything that hasn't proven its value to us along the way. Often going through the most painful of ordeals serves to be our wake up call, shakes us from our slumbers of self imposed decay, and when we wake up, we see that we should have been striving all along, or thriving, in fact. Having awoken, once we return to those moments of joy that define what we truly are, we cannot help but then seek to share these possibilities with others. And Berns is one such person who has confronted the monsters in the abyss of the dark night of the soul many times, often in life and death situations, and she has battled through it to bring back some potions to share with us all through her multiple ventures. I can't wait to hear all about it. So Berns, the passion fruit bikini creator, the student of life, the madam of master manifesting, and health and wellness goddess, welcome to Rogue Ways, and thank you for being here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was an awesome introduction. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad I could give you a welcome you deserve. Before we jump in, let me remind all of you badass listeners out there that Rogue Ways is part of the Eyes Open Network. This collective of creators offers all kinds of content, insight, analysis, and even goods and services through the Eyes Open Network, which you can access through rogueways.org. So go check it out to support some badasses who have your best interests at heart and to join in the community on Facebook or MeWe. We would love to see you around. So today's pointless question of the episode is this, Berns. If you were going to be a flower, which flower would you be and why?
Oh my gosh, I can only choose one, right?
We'll narrow it down and then you can mention some close seconds.
I have two favorite flowers. I actually have three favorite flowers. I love roses. I have some drying on my wall over here.
Do you keep them for potpourri?
I keep them not for potpourri, but for decor and to remind me of when I got them or when I bought them. And I love roses. Awesome. And they're the flower of romance. Who doesn't love roses?
True.
Right? I love hibiscus flowers. So I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. And at Christmas time, everywhere in Trinidad is blooming with hibiscus flowers. So I love hibiscus, but I can't resist lavender.
Oh, yeah.
I love discovering lavender. Actually, I was in Ibiza last month and we were on the side of a mountain at a beautiful hillside resort, really.
Ooh.
Middle of nowhere. And there was a planter full of lavender. And I don't know, every time I see lavender, my heart just melts. So I'm going to go with lavender. And it's my favorite color, purple.
Oh, perfect. Purple is my favorite color too. We were just talking about this and maybe it's blue and I don't know, but I say it's purple.
Well, it's easier to live in a blue house or drive a blue car than a purple car. Although when I was a little girl, my dad had a purple car.
I want that car. What was it?
It was a Swinger.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like an old school. I think it's a Chrysler, maybe.
Wow.
A Dodge Swinger. And it was purple and it was my favorite color. So you can just imagine how much I love that car. And it was white leather interior.
I am going to look this car up and maybe try to find it because that sounds
amazing. Check it out. It is Googleable. And the color was actually called Plum Crazy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. Especially with the white leather to like make it pop. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So tell me more about your childhood then in Trinidad and Tobago. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I was born in Trinidad, and when I was 2 years old, my family moved up to Canada for a better life. So I lived until I was 11 years old. I lived in a few suburbs outside of Toronto. Scarborough, yay! I believe Drake is from Scarborough as well. And when I was 11, we moved back down to Trinidad, where I lived until I was 22. So I kind of lived half in Canada and half in Trinidad, and it was an interesting childhood. It was an interesting childhood. I learned a lot of things about having a really thick skin. I kind of never really felt like I fit in anywhere. And it was, but it was a beautiful experience. It was really amazing to live in two completely different cultures.
Yeah.
When I was growing up. Yeah, it was amazing. I didn't want to. When we moved down to Trinidad at 11, when I was 11, I have two sisters, one who is a year and a half older than me, and one that's 13 months younger. We did not want to move.
Because all three of you are right at that age where everything kind of changes anyway. And then you
Every,
throw that into the mix. I can't imagine how much less
yeah,
stable you feel.
yeah. So exactly. And it was a really interesting time of life, figuring out all the stuff about fitting in. And we went kicking and screaming, and it ended up being one of the best experiences. And I'm so grateful that my parents made that move, because I mean, growing up in Trinidad when it was like the heyday, like it was really abundant. There wasn't any crime. It was a completely different story than it is now, unfortunately, for now. But so it was a beautiful experience. I learned a lot about being really flexible, about having a thick skin, about standing up for myself. And It was beautiful. When I was 22, I moved back to Toronto to go to school. I went to Ryerson to study fashion, as well as then I switched over to York University to get my BA in psychology and my Bachelor of Education, and started my family life up here.
So before we get into the what made you switch from fashion to psychology, what do you think it is that do you think the developing a thick skin was there something in the culture that was different and people were kind of meaner to you, or you were kind of the outsider coming in and so you had to deal with like some bullying, or was it just
All of that.
the age? Okay.
All of that. So when I lived in Canada before we moved back down to Trinidad, I was ostracized. Because I was from the West Indies and my parents had thick accents. I was called names. I was called a Paki, West Indian. So of course, ignorance, right? So I always kind of felt like on the outside. And I'm also really, although I can be very extroverted, I'm also an introvert. I'm a little bit of a hermit. So it's
Mhm.
always a little bit of a push against that need to insulate myself and to be kind of on my own. So there was a lot of really interesting growing pains growing up. And then when we moved to Trinidad, I was again a minority because
Yeah.
I was one of the few white people in my school. And at 11, 12 years old, that is like a culture shock and a half. So I realized, oh my God, if I don't learn how to say fuck off
Yeah.
and mean it, I was going to be eaten alive. I was literally felt like I was going to be eaten alive. So I had to dig really deep, and I had to get really like strong and grounded. Whereas when I left Canada, I I was like I was really a withering flower. Like I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want none of that because I didn't want any attention called to myself. And then when I had moved to Trinidad, I was like, "Oh, girl, you better stand up for yourself like right now."
It's like you were too dark for the white world and too white for the dark world.
Exactly.
And then you had to
Exactly.
develop that. I can totally relate to the introvert extrovert thing because whenever I take those Myers-Briggs personality tests, I'm always like right at the 50% mark.
Mhm.
So I'm apparently
Mhm.
right in the middle. And so sometimes I'm
Yep.
INFJ and sometimes I'm ENFJ.
Yep.
And people
Yep.
think, if I do this show, I must be an extrovert. I'm really not. It's hard
People
for
are surprised about that about me as
me.
well,
Yeah.
because they see me doing a lot of videos, they see me doing a lot of lives, they see me putting myself out there, they see me on stage with Dr. Joe, and it's like, you're not shy. I'm like, no, if you really knew how I have to talk myself into
Yes.
this every single time and to just gulp
Yep.
and just hit go live,
Yep.
like you would be really surprised. But
Right.
that is in fact true. I'm an introverted extrovert, or an extroverted introvert, depending on where
Right.
where in the mix I am in the moment. Yeah.
You said that, and I'm like, I'm not sure which one of those I am, but
Yeah.
do you think that your extrovert side wouldn't have been developed as much if you didn't get pushed into that situation where you left, right at the age of 11 and went
Totally.
to that culture?
Absolutely. It was sink or swim time.
Yeah.
And I remember very, very clearly saying to myself, you better learn to like stand up for yourself right now.
Which is such a valuable skill that I'm sure came back to help you many times
Absolutely.
in life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't that idea about like the hardships in our lives and the negative things they're negative, you don't want them, but at the same time, if you never had them, you would never develop these kind of gifts that you have.
Well, yeah, I think that was really the start of me really realizing that everything really is happening for me, and that this is, I mean, I didn't have the language of this until much later on in life, but everything really is here to teach us something about ourselves. It's to highlight where we are and what we want in our lives and what we need to do to step into that. I wanted to step into being confident and being accepted and being, feeling like I was part of the culture. And I knew I had to step out of my shyness. I had to step out of my fear, and it taught me a lot of really good things. It taught resilience and flexibility. Those were two of the most powerful lessons that I learned. I totally appreciated that. Yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
And so what brought you into getting into fashion as you're going into college and
Well, when
your
I was
education?
in Trinidad, I had applied to Ryerson in Toronto because I knew that I wanted to move out of Trinidad and go back to Canada. And so I applied and continuing education was just an expectation in our home. And although it was never really pushed, like good, solid education, I went to one of the best schools in Trinidad. We were on the British system of education. So it's you get into whatever school that you're first, second, and third choice based on it's called common entrance exam. So I was always a really good student. That's a whole other story that
Yeah.
brought me there. Um, and I wanted some sort of something, and I applied for hospitality and tourism management. I got in for it, and I got up here, and I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. Don't really want to do that. So I took a year to I worked in downtown Toronto, and some, small secretarial and stockbroking and different kinds of companies. And then I realized I've I've always had a passion for fashion. I learned how to sew watching my mom sew our school uniforms. I taught myself how to sew on her Singer sewing machine, the kind that dropped down into the table. It wasn't the foot
Yes.
pedal one that you had to
Yes.
move manually, but it was
That's
close.
close, right?
And
I
I
have the
learned
same one.
yeah, I learned how to sew by patterns and teaching myself, and I was really good at it. And so I decided I think I want to pursue that passion.
When you clearly have an eye for it, like your backdrop and your
Oh,
whole
thank you.
presentation is like beautiful and perfect. So that
Thank you
I
so
can see
much.
that.
Thank you. I love design. I love design. So I applied to go to Ryerson for fashion. It was a very rigorous process to get in, a very competitive program, and I was accepted. And about halfway through the first year, I started looking around and going, I don't think I made the right choice. Like, these people are great and everything, but like this is like out there. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like really flamboyant people, and now I can totally appreciate that because so many beautiful fashion icons are just like so over the top, and you need that extra being extra.
Yeah.
But I said to myself, I don't know how I'm going to support a family if I one day have a family in this industry.
Hmm.
So after the first year was completed, I decided to, and then right around the same time, I met my now ex-husband. And he was at university, and he was studying to become a teacher. And I started to take an interest in what he was doing. And I went into his classroom as just to observe and to check out what he was doing as a, student observer kind of thing. And I fell in love with I fell more in love with him because I just saw this whole other side to him. And I fell in love with the idea of having this beautiful group of children that you can positively affect.
Yeah.
And because I saw what a beautiful job he did, and I saw how the kids looked up to him, and I I fell in love with it. So after my first year at Ryerson, I decided, you know what? I'm going to apply to York University. I'm going to do my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology because I also love psychology. Right? I have a lot of passions that are kind of multidimensional.
Totally.
And then I'm gonna apply to get into the Faculty of Education to get my Bachelor of Education, which I did. And I fell in love with it. I became a teacher. I absolutely love teaching.
I did not know that you were also a teacher.
Yeah.
Did you know that I'm a teacher?
Yes, I
Okay.
remember you told me that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have so many ideas." It's interesting. Oh, after we spoke,
Maybe you did tell me and I forgot, and if so, I'm sorry.
no, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. So after we spoke a little bit, you know how I'm on a new path with some of the things that I want to help other amazing creative geniuses really put their work out into the world and create a profitable life at the same time. So one of the things that that I wanted to show you is I have an entire 1 year, actually this is 2 years of class newsletters.
Oh, wow.
I have always loved like doing newsletters for my classrooms.
Yes.
And I taught junior kindergarten through grade 11 for 15 years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I just it I wasn't big on pushing curriculum.
Yeah.
I was really big on helping kids tap into their hidden potential by not being afraid of their own wherever they were in their learning process.
This is like exactly where I'm at basically too.
Yeah. And what happened was I was on maternity leave from when I had my second daughter, Kaya, who is now 16. And I was trying to lose weight, and I was on a fitness forum, and I noticed, and this is 15, 16, 17 years ago. And I noticed that these girls who were also on the sideboard as competitors, who were bodybuilders, who were competing in fitness competitions, who were killing themselves doing 3-6 months of training, were showing up on stage after all of that in the like worst fitting bikinis I had ever seen in my life.
Oh.
And having made my own swimwear, but not those kind of bikinis, and having had having an eye for fashion, and I have a really good eye of seeing where there is a hole in a market.
Yes.
And knowing if I can fill that need and if I have the skill to do it, that I was like, I have to at least make one bikini to prove that there's a better way.
Right.
Right. So that's how I sort of got into designing bikinis. It was at the same time that I was just coming back off of maternity leave from Kaya. So I kind of did teaching as well as passion fruit designs at the same time.
Wow.
And
that's
then
hard.
It was really hard because
and you're a mother at this time as well.
And I'm a mom, and it was a really interesting time. And I remember I was getting really bad headaches. And I went to my doctor and I said, "Oh my God, I think I need a brain scan." And literally he said, "Why do you think you need a brain scan?" Like, he was so cute. He humored me. "Because I've got all these headaches, and it's over and over, cluster headaches every day." And he's like, "You don't need a brain scan. I know exactly what's wrong with you." I was like, "Hey, you do? What is it?" He said, "You're burning the candle at both ends. You have to choose. It's either teaching or your swimwear business, but you can't do both because it's too much stress." And I thought it was really odd and unusual, but brilliant and sage advice from a doctor.
Very rare and very sage
Very,
advice.
very rare. He was a very rare soul. He was amazing. He was actually one of the inventors of one of the new heart pacemakers.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a great guy. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take a leave of absence from teaching, and I'm going to try this. We'll see if this passion fruit thing works." That was the name of my company, Passion Fruit Designs. And it did. Lo and behold, what I had started 3 years before naturally evolved into being a really beautiful, beautiful brand. I built an amazing brand. I designed for thousands of girls. I was on Dragon's Den here in Canada, which is like Shark Tank in the States.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing. It was a really beautiful experience. So
How cool.
yeah,
And people really, I'm sure appreciated that you filled that void for them as well. You know,
they
like everyone
did.
wants to feel like special and look good, especially if you're going to go out on stage and
In a
present yourself.
bikini.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is one of the things that I really loved. Like I went into it with a very clear intention, which is like how I like going into anything. I went into it with the intention of having a very unique brand, to create something that was truly Berns. Like when you looked at it, you'd be like, I know who made that. Berns made that. This is before I made a single suit. No,
Wow.
that's not true. This is after I had made a couple of suits, and I realized all of a sudden, oh, people actually want more. Berns, I saw, is that the suit you made for Lenore? Yeah, it is. Can you make me one? Literally, I said, I don't know, but I'll try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, I don't know, but let's give this a go. We'll try it. So that was one of my intentions. And the second intention is that I would have every girl feel like they were the celebrity,
Yeah.
like give everybody a red carpet service so that they would truly feel completely taken care of and pampered. And it was beautiful.
I love that intention because it goes both ways. It's like you're getting something out of it, but you're really also trying to serve, wanting to help
Oh
people feel
yeah, it
better.
was all about serving. I wanted everybody to, and I started doing, I realized, a lot of coaching, a lot of life coaching through that process. And I
But
got
like
to,
as almost like a like an accidental.
it kind of just the natural tendency of me.
Hmm.
So when girls would call for a suit, again, this is before Instagram and Facebook and before any social media. It was just a few forums, fitness forums. MySpace was big at this point in time to give people, you young kids can go
They don't.
Google search, what's MySpace
What's
if
my
you don't
face?
know. You need to know the history of social media if you're
Right.
using social media in 2020 or
There's
2019.
there's a class we could make.
Yeah, there's a whole, we can spend a lot of time on that. So they would call me up. I had a website. I did everything myself. I had a beautiful website, and they would call me up, and I really wanted to get to know the girls because I felt, first of all, if they're paying me anywhere from $200 to $5,000
Wow.
for a bikini, the $5,000 price range didn't come for until a few years later when I
It's
increased
specialized.
my skill and figured out a bunch of things. But if you're going to pay me anything, I want to make sure that I get as much of you infused into that piece of work. And being a natural talker that I am, and somebody that naturally loves to connect with people, and I loved watching the relationships develop, I spent a good hour sometimes on the phone with somebody before I even knew what their price range was. Because remember, my first intention was no matter what your price point is, you're going to get the red carpet service. So
I love
the
that.
budget, the price that they were paying was, I didn't even want to know. I just wanted to really find out about who they are, why they wanted to compete in the first place, get to know what really lit them up, get to know what their struggles were. And in the process, I realized that I was doing I had so many girls, by the time they were done that first consultation, they just felt like, oh my God, I'm so ready to step on stage in a bikini. Because that is like unnerving. Like a lot of people, that's a big ask. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
mean,
couldn't imagine it. It's like,
even doing this is hard for us. I get like doing it with less clothes on is crazy.
can you imagine? And in front of people with bright lights on the
Who are
stage,
literally
and
there to judge you, right?
you're literally there to judge you. I mean, I remember presenting at a couple shows. I would present awards, and just being on stage and presenting awards was unnerving.
Yeah.
And I'm fully clothed.
For sure.
People love me. It's like, oh my God, Berns, because I was a known person in the industry, and still it was like completely unnerving. So my goal was always to really get to know people so that I can make sure that when I was working on their suit, and these suits were all fully encrusted with Swarovski crystals, and they were beautiful works of art. I was even designing my own fabric and having it sublimate printed on,
Cool.
and designing them specifically on the computer digitally for the girls personally. Oh, you don't like the blue background on that? What color would you like? Okay, we'll do that. You don't like this swirl here? Okay. So it was a beautiful creative process. But I really loved really getting to know them, because then I could really put, I would call it good juju,
Yeah.
into the suit for them. And it really worked, because almost everybody who wore my suit won their show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe that that is a huge part of why too, because that level of care and intention is really rare, especially when it's that you can just tell that for you it's not. For a lot of people, I imagine, or a lot of businesses, it would be like a gimmick. Like we're gonna try to make people feel this way so that they buy this thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, no, I want to connect with people, and as a
Yeah.
byproduct, I will also be able to make this amazing thing for them that will make them
Exactly.
feel really great.
Yeah, exactly. And I built my business that way too. Like I had, at one point, I had up to 10 women that were working for me. Half of them, or maybe seven of them, worked in their own home as contract sewers and crystal workers for me. But about 3 to 4 of them at any point in time worked in my home as well. And it was really important, the vibe, the energy that was in the suit. Like if somebody was having a bad day, like they broke up with their boyfriend and they're crying or whatever, it's like, okay, don't touch the suit.
Yeah.
Let's work on you for a minute. What's going on? Let's get you into a happy place, because I know that that energy is going in this mix, and we don't want that. We want to have the most uplifting. I just believe that everything, and when you think about it, crystals and
Yeah.
stones that we know of, they do hold energy.
They literally hold energy and therefore information and therefore memory.
Exactly. So that was a really, really big. I didn't have this knowledge and that this understanding when I was doing it. This is just how I am. This is just what I knew.
You intuitively knew it,
I intuitively knew it.
even if you didn't have like the details to kind of back it up or
I
something.
didn't have the language to explain it, but I knew it inside,
This is
because
like a
I could see
theme
it.
I see in people who do this kind of work that like it's almost like you spend your life trying to remind yourself of these things until suddenly you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing I've been like trying to do
Yeah,
and
and
think
I
about.
always, yeah, it's so true. I always remind people whenever, because I do a lot of life coaching now, and what I what I realize is that if you don't remind yourself of your why, like why you're doing something, and if you don't have a clear vision and an understanding of the end in mind, right? Why
Right.
are you doing it? How do you want to feel? If you cannot go back to that understanding, then you're going to be lost. Then it's going to be a struggle. Even, I mean, a lot of things still can end up feeling like a struggle, right? When we're
Right.
trying to transform and grow and get to another level, it can feel like a frigging struggle, man.
Yeah.
But if you can really go back to why are you doing it? What is your intention? Be clear about your intention. Write the intention down. Like, why are you wanting to start this new venture? Why do you want to start or end a relationship? Like, what's your intention behind it? You
Yeah.
need to be clear on your intention, or else you're just lost.
I agree. I
Yeah.
also love that in this business you had created that the people, I mean, it's like, what job have you, any of us ever had where you're allowed to take a step back because you're having a bad day? It's like,
Yeah.
or because you actually need that space and that time to like come to terms with where you're at before you can do any sort of worthwhile work. But
Exactly.
we don't have that built in, but you did just by, virtue of who you are. And it would be so amazing if every business was like that or every venture was like that.
It really would. I think we'd have a lot less people getting sick, a lot less people losing their way, a lot less people feeling frustrated. It's it was a luxury that I deliberately created for myself.
I love it.
It was I remember the day that I decided that I wanted to create a lifestyle for myself where I didn't have to go into work teaching if I didn't want to
Yeah.
and not feel guilty about it. It was before my daughter was even conceived. Kaya, the 16-year-old. I have an older daughter. She's 22. She'll be 23 soon. I remember I had taken a mental health day off of work. And I remember driving around and I just remember thinking, you know what I want? I want to be able to do this on my time whenever I decide that I want to do this. Take a day off, spend it just driving around, enjoying the day. And I didn't know how it was going to come about. I just knew that that's what I wanted. So I think it's really, really important to be clear on the basic things of what you want in your life and not freak out and not worry about, well, how's that going to come about? I just clearly remember saying, this is what I want. I want to take a day off from work without feeling guilty and still get paid.
Yes.
But be able to call my day the way I wanted to. I had no idea how that was going to come about. I was not even making bathing suits at this point in time. I just knew that that's what I wanted. And then things started falling in my lap and started aligning for that to happen.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we were talking about a little bit when you're in that alignment and in that strong visualization of what you want and that manifesting mode, and it's clear, you can still experience these difficult spots and these troubles. So what were some of the sort of major disillusionments or hiccups that you had along the way?
Well, I like how you're saying that in past tense.
Yeah. None of them are ever around anymore.
I go through that all the time. So I'll put it into present tense. So right now I am, I retired I'll get to your answer in a second, but I retired Passion Fruit Designs. Actually, I knew the day before I was diagnosed with cancer in 2011. I knew the day before that it was over for Passion Fruit Designs. It was about 10 or 12 years into Passion Fruit Designs, and we were living in California. We moved from Canada to California to live the life on the beach. And 3 months later, I would throw my hands up in the air. It was Halloween 2011, and I thought that at this point that we were thinking of a transition for Passion Fruit Designs to go from what I was doing to more of a retail brand, and that didn't work out. And so I was back to sewing bikinis, exchanging time for money, and working too hard and doing it all myself now because we're in California. I'm not in Canada where I have my crew doing it. So I'm back to doing everything. And I just threw my arms up in the air and I just said, I fucking hate this. I hate it. And it shocked me as it came out of my mouth. I was like, oh my God, Berns, what is going on? That's
like,
scary.
how did you get to the point where you hated it?
It was interesting how I got to that point where I hated it.
But without noticing, it just crept up on you or something.
I think I was starting to notice. I think that's one of the reasons why we decided to move to California, to kind of start over, to sort of take a different path, because the industry was changing. And a lot of my designs were now being ripped off by other people, to the extent that I would see someone in a bikini backstage at a show and think, oh my God, there's the butterfly bikini print, because all my prints and designs were all different. And as soon as I got close to it, I went, ooh, because I'm like, oh, let me go say hello. Hi, you're wearing my bikini. Did I make that for you? Did you buy it from somebody else?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's not my bikini when I got closer. So people were really, really ripping off my work and undercutting me in price. And that really was painful. As a creative person who's creating my own content, that was hard. That was hard. I don't know. I just kept plugging away, just putting one foot in front of the other and slowly hating it.
Yeah.
And I realized on October 31st that I was resenting the very thing that I created out of love, the thing that I was passionate about. I was begrudging everything about it. That night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and I could barely move. I could barely breathe. I felt like there was a vice grip right around my sternum. Not my sternum, my, where you get winded,
Yeah.
right in the middle of your diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was the start of my journey with a very rare form of cancer called gastrointestinal stromal tumor.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the point at which and 3 months later, my marriage to my husband at the time was over.
So
And
it
not
poured.
3 months later, not because of the cancer, just because the marriage was just over. We both tapped out at the same time. We're
Okay.
both like, I'm done. Yeah, me too. I'm done. This time,
Okay.
like, we're really done. And we had been together for like 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were best friends. And he's an amazing, amazing man. This did not happen because he was, this just happened because the marriage was over.
Yeah. But you guys were big enough people and mature enough people to just recognize it and move on and be
Yeah,
best friends still.
that was, it did not feel that like that neat and tidy of a package at the time. That came out of really doing the work to get there. And I know that a lot of that work was mine because I realized that I needed to heal how I felt about him right away because, I was feeling abandoned and I was feeling rejected, even though we both tapped out at the same time. It was just really messy. And I knew that I had to work on being compassionate and forgiving. And I did a lot of work with Oprah.
Wow.
I did a lot of work with Oprah and Super Soul Sundays. I used to go over to my next door neighbor, Joni. I call her my California angel. And every morning we would sit in, and I have my journal. Actually, let me pull it out because it is literally right here. Okay, we're going to have a little. Okay, that's all good. This journal is a blueprint for my survival and my rebirth. And I started it on May the 1st, a month after my marriage was over.
May Day. May Day.
May Day. This was my first, I'll show you. This was my first entry. You probably can't read it. I'm
no,
sure.
You can. It's
You
today
can?
I am grateful for, and there was a list of
Waking up at 5 a.m. and watching Oprah's episode on gratitude, having a smooth morning routine with the girls, not getting upset all day when I thought my phone was lost, Joni finding my phone, spending quality time with Joni during the day, watching Oprah today with the girls and Joni, having our first gratitude circle where I introduced them to this gratitude journal, buying our gratitude journals, starting our gratitude journals, cooking an awesome meal, roasted chicken, veggies, buying groceries, driving safely the kids to school and Walmart, getting my new free hair via UPS. I was doing YouTube videos and I was getting sponsored for beautiful full-length human hair wigs.
Oh yeah, I think I saw some of this.
Yeah, having a whole new change of heart, mindset, and attitude. And that was the beginning of me totally turning things around and realizing that I had to really start going back to my heart space and coming from a place of love. And I started making copious lists of things to appreciate about my ex-husband. And at the time, it was really challenging. I didn't want to give him anything. I didn't want to give anything. I didn't want to give it. Yeah, I'm not giving you that. Oh, yeah, but that is the work, Berns. So you better do it. And I realized right away that it was necessary for me to condition myself into a place of love and condition myself to not think of or speak of anything negative about him or about our marriage. I knew it right from there. So when I moved back to Canada, so we moved back in August of 2012, and I came back as a single mom, but I still held on to Passion Fruit Designs for a little while, for like 2 years, really, because I needed to put food on the table.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had to retire that business because it was no longer my passion and my purpose.
Mhm.
And when I was first diagnosed with the cancer, I remember the day I was laying in my bed in California and I heard a voice. Now I get downloads of information
Mhm.
from the divine,
Mhm.
and I get really beautiful insights, and but I don't often hear literally like as if somebody's right next to me speaking.
I know
And I
exactly.
heard this. I heard very clearly the words, "This will help you define and clarify your purpose,
Wow.
Berns." And I just remember hearing that, and that just made me feel so good. I was like, okay, all right, cool. We're going to redefine my purpose. So when I retired Passion Fruit Designs, eventually it was hard because a lot of people were always begging me, please, can you make me just one suit? Okay, okay. Please, can you make me? Okay. And it was hard to turn down the money because it was good money. But I knew that I had to really retire it so that I could step into what is truly my purpose, which is really what I'm doing now.
And so
But
how
it,
did you
you
know
know,
what it was?
that took a long time, it felt, because I didn't really know. Like I knew what I was good at. And I knew the incredible lessons that I was learning. So since 2012, so 2011, I was diagnosed with cancer. In 2012, the marriage was over, moved back to Canada, trying to figure my stuff out again. I went through a really serious depression
Yeah.
because I was still recovering from cancer. I was feeling like damaged goods
You went through every kind of life change that should cause depression all at once.
all at once, all at once. And it did. And I realized the day that I was like laying in my bed trying to think about, okay, what would be some not so gross ways to kill myself?
Yikes.
And then I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, I can do it in the car, in the garage. And then I just said to myself,
Whoa.
get some help,
Yeah.
girl. Like, do you have kids in the next room? Like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is like bad. This is
Good for
really
you
bad.
for catching it though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Because I was feeling horrible. And it wasn't just that I was feeling depressed. It wasn't that loose kind of, when things aren't going well and you're feeling down and you're struggling and you're, oh my God, how's this going to go? It was like literally I couldn't move. I was also I was starting to drink in the middle of the day as
Yeah.
well. Like it was, my
Mhm.
life was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. But through all of that stuff, all of those things were beautiful teachers for me because it really brought me to a strong desire to want to find my happiness again. It brought me to rediscover Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction. And it really got me to realize that I'm in charge of my happiness. That is my job. It doesn't matter what else is going on around me. I am the one that's in control of the thoughts that I think and therefore the feelings that I feel and how my life is turning out. So I embarked on this incredible personal and spiritual journey. And through that, I started sharing about it on Facebook. I had a beautiful physical transformation. I got really lean, really ripped. Probably could have competed in my own bikinis, but never did because I just know what that backstory is. And that's a mess
Yeah.
for a lot of people. And I didn't want it. It wasn't my personality.
Yeah.
And because of all of that, and because of all of my previous experience with teaching and with just being able to relate to people and just be able to see how to move people from here to where they want to go, and because I was moving myself from where I was to where I wanted to go, I started to really share a lot of my experiences, and I started to help a lot of people. Um, who were going through the same things. I was able to, after 3.5 years of, you want to talk about struggling to find a really beautiful love relationship again, because
Mm.
I remember crying on the phone with Susan, one of my clients. And I was just so upset because I didn't have that sidekick, that partner in life who, like Michelle, my ex-husband, was such an important part of me growing and developing passion fruit designs, because I would talk to him all about, the different ideas, and I would get the downloads, and I would make predictions of stuff that would happen, and he would be like, okay, Berns. And I'm like, I know, crazy, right? And then 3 months later, these big predictions fell into my lap, and I'd be like, are you seeing this? And he's like, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Okay. Now I know that when you get those insights, it's like, it's actually
Real.
happening. It's going to happen. So that's how I really was able to discover that one of my big true purposes in life is helping other people through the stuff that they're going through as it relates to what I'm going through. So as I was lining up with figuring out the whole dating single in your 40s again, I'll be 54 this year. I know I don't.
Oh my God. Yeah, you look amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. That's also a belief system that I've had since I was a teenager, actually.
Thank you, because I don't have gray hair or very many wrinkles. I'm only 37, but I believe that it is also because I believe that I will still look this way forever.
You look like you're in your 20s. Honestly, you look like you're a teenager, aside from the fact that you don't have a teenager vibe. You're obviously, you have your stuff way more put together than. Nothing wrong with teenagers, but there's a maturity that you just can't have when you're 16.
None of us want to go back to then either.
Yeah, so that was a belief system. I believed, because I was told all the time, oh my God, you look so much younger than you are. And I'm like, yeah, because I am, and I will be. And when I'm in my 40s, I'll be the one that's like looking super young. And it's true.
It's true.
But so helping other people through the stuff that they're going through as it relates to what I'm currently going through or what I've grown through, I realize that that's been my purpose.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I love doing it. I can't turn it off. Everywhere I go, I just see things that people just need to hear. I just get these downloads. So I love doing that.
Well, and it's beautiful that you found a way to, that's helping you, it's helping them, but also that people are wanting that from you and accepting it. Because I feel like for me, sometimes when I see those things in people and maybe try to help them, they're almost like resentful. Yeah. Well, maybe that's because you didn't ask me. Maybe I should shut them out.
That's sometimes it. And sometimes I give advice without asking as well, but I just drop the truth bombs, man, and I don't freaking care if people don't like it. And I have you do have to sort of feel them out, and it's a lot about asking more questions than giving advice, really.
Amen.
It's really about what do you need? Not what do I need to tell you, but what do you need to hear? It is a very intuitive thing in terms of how much do you want to hear? Because some people, I realize, they really don't want to hear it.
Right.
And a lot of times I keep my mouth shut because it's like, no, that's not going to go. She's not ready for that. She can't hear that.
You have like the whole pie, but you're only going to give them a little sliver at a time.
Yeah,
that's all they can handle.
Exactly. And that's all any of us want. None of us want all the food that we're going to eat forever in our lives right now. That would be overwhelming, right? It's like, just give me a little bit at a time in small doses that I can handle.
I can easily digest this.
Yeah, this is I can work with this. Okay, I can see your point here. Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh, that's really incredible. So how did you get from having that offered, as you just go through life, to turning it into something that produced income for you?
With what I'm doing now with my coaching?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Like, how did you go, if it's something that you're just kind of naturally doing with people, how did you turn that then into something that you're profiting from?
Yeah, so that in itself is a real process, right? And that's why I love what I'm doing now. It's showing other people how to put their work out there, or their skills, or their healing abilities, or whatever they're tapped into, whatever is their true purpose, and turn that into an income, because it's a real challenge, especially for people like us who are intuitive and who are who are empaths, who are very deeply tuned into what other people feel and what other people need to soothe themselves, because there's a lot of really mixed up notions in the world about the spirituality of money and within ourselves, because for a lot of us, we don't even really know where this comes from.
Yeah.
Like where's our superpower from? And if it's something that is like a gift that is really a gift that's being bestowed onto us, we feel like, first of all, well, I can't deny you the help just because you don't have money to pay me, because you need the help. So I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it all to you. And I don't need anything, when really that is what so many of us are stuck on. So for myself, I had to really start understanding the value of what I do.
Yeah.
Understanding our value. What value am I adding to someone's life by coaching them through whatever it is they're going through, right? So number one, understanding, really having a clear understanding of your worth and your value. Understanding as well that just because it's something that is like this sort of in the ethers kind of thing, doesn't mean that we should not earn an income doing it, because we still need to provide for our families. And what I'm doing, the quality of work that I'm doing, is just as valuable as, say, a doctor who's going to operate on somebody, because actually the stuff that I do can prevent
that.
To go to a doctor. But it's the same thing with Passion Fruit Designs. When I had my bikini design company, in the beginning, it was really tricky, because it's like, oh my God, how much is this worth? And in the beginning, honestly, when you're just starting something out, you're really not worth that much, because you don't have the experience. It's not perfected.
Right.
It's not something that can really command a higher prices yet, because you're still working on it, right? But when I really started to understand the value of my customer service that I offered, of the suit itself, of the level of work compared to the other stuff that was out there in the market at the time, and understand my value of putting it all together, I started to really say to myself, okay, I'm not going to charge $150 for my work. I'm not going to charge, I'll charge $200 as my minimum, so that I can capture people who still want a really custom made suit, but maybe not with as much crystals on it. But I remember getting flack for when I brought out my couture level suits, the fully embellished, fully crystallized ones. I remember getting flack in the Oxygen magazine fitness forums. How dare you charge? And at that time, I think the highest price I was charging was $2,000 for a bikini.
So it wasn't even the highest that you got to.
It wasn't the highest that I got to, but people were up in arms. They were like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? And all this kind of stuff. And I said, hey, you may have a budget to get from A to B in a Toyota Corolla or in a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge you for wanting to drive a Lamborghini or whatever you want to drive, a high-end vehicle, if that's what you can afford, and you pay for the extra, that stuff that you get, right?
Right.
I'm not going to judge you for that. If somebody has $2,000, I could help them spend it very well, and they'll get more than their money's worth. I have no problem with that. If you have a problem with that, you're not my customer. It's okay. Right? It's about getting to that place where I was so attuned with and understood the value that I had to offer. And I offered on a sliding scale. So it was either 200 or 2,000 at that time. But that takes a lot of internal strength.
Yeah.
And knowing who you are, knowing what you have to offer, and not being afraid to own that.
And I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. Well,
like I feel how probably anybody who's considering, because I am also considering, how I can start my own business. And that is exactly the type of thing I wonder, like, how do I get away with charging for any of the things that I would like to charge for?
right.
But that's it. Like you're saying, like I would have to get really visualize what I'm offering, what the quality of it is, and realize that there's value there. You know, when we were talking
Exactly.
about kind of like where do we get these things, and it's all kind of etheric, and it's almost like we think because we can't see it or touch it, it's like worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet a lot of us are stuck in jobs where we are just pumping out worthless shit.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say it.
It's true.
We're doing jobs that really don't add a lot of value. A lot of people are just shuffling paper around and really playing the ass for a lot of their day at work and still collecting a regular paycheck. And hey, man, if that's okay with you, knock yourself out. That's
Right?
cool. But if you want to really follow your purpose and make an income doing that, it starts with understanding your value and understanding your worth. And there's a process that's involved too. Like even with my online coaching and my one-on-one coaching and just my posts on Facebook and the value that I add for free, understanding that the more value you put out in the world, the more the universe is going to come to support you in in following your purpose. So, for example, I do complimentary one-on-one calls. They're an hour long. Sometimes they go over an hour if I don't have another person booked right after. And I give everything to that person. Like I don't like hold back. I give them as many tools as they need for their particular case. I give them whatever they need. And it's exactly the same as my paid clients. But before somebody really knows whether they want to pay me for my work and understand what my value is, they need to experience it
Mhm.
first. So at the same time as they're experiencing the value that I have to offer, I am helping them get to the next step of what they need. So I'm adding a lot of value
Yeah.
as I'm helping them kind of sort out where they are. And what I know and what I have discovered is that because I've been able to put myself out there and offer this as part of my free service, a lot of those people are the people that end up doing my online courses or that end up coming back for paid sessions or that book a 6-month program with me. And I'm not even really, I'm not doing a big, heavy, hard sell on them.
Yeah.
They just know and understand, oh my God, I have gotten so much value. So there's a bit of a build-up phase when you're building your business, just like when I did my bikinis.
Yeah.
The first few years of doing your own business, you really don't make any money. And a lot of times you end up losing money. There were more bikinis made per bikini that went out. There were more removed elastics and there were more scrapped bikinis than bikinis that left my home studio. And I even had a standing um, uh, what's it called? Anyhow, I told people that's a really fancy word. A standing policy that if I made a suit for you and it did not fit you perfectly, that I would remake it, no questions asked.
Awesome.
I had to remake very few suits because I worked like crazy the amount of hours, especially in the beginning, to perfect what I did. Right. So that's the sort of sacrifice that you make in order to put out really great value, really great product, great content, whatever it is. There's a lot of work that goes into it
Mhm.
beforehand. So, for example, when I help new entrepreneurs and creative geniuses like you figure out what their purpose is and figure out how to present that to the world, through live video, I let people know that there's going to be like 6 to 12 months where you're just giving everything for free.
Yep.
And some people in the beginning are like, whoa, well, then how am I going to make an income? And it's like, don't worry, trust me, your income will come. But for the first 6 to 12 months, you want to give as much value for free. It's the law of reciprocity. If you give a lot out, a lot is going to come back to you. Do you know the amount of testimonials I have from my complimentary one-on-one calls? Because it's another thing. I coach people. If you're giving a service for free, which I always recommend when you're starting out your business, number one, it helps build your skill level. It helps build your being known in your industry. It helps you build your loyal fan base. A lot of people do stuff for free and they don't say, hey, I'm so glad this was of value to you. Would you mind doing, if you don't mind, if you can write a testimonial for me, that would be so awesome. That would mean the world to me, because that would help me help more people see that this is something of value, that they can jump on a complimentary call with me as well. So if you don't mind, if you ever have time, that would be great. And 9 times out of 10, well, that's not true. I have about, I would say 30 for the almost 200 calls that I've done since January. So, people get busy.
A pretty good amount. Yeah.
It's a really good amount. And I have 30 amazing, beautiful, like the stuff that people write is just like, wow, that's really beautiful. Thank you. And I have them posted on Facebook and I have them tag me in it so that I can share it on my wall. It took me years to ask people to do that because I was like, oh, this feels like a big ask. This feels really creepy. This feels like
coercion or something.
Yeah, I'm really uncomfortable with that. And then I started to realize, wait a minute, I just gave them an hour, sometimes 2 hours of my time. This is not a big ask, Berns. You just help them change their lives.
Yeah.
You just help them have a breakthrough for free.
For free. And honestly, someone said it, and it's probably a famous quote or something, but like the most expensive gift you can give someone is your attention.
Exactly.
The most valuable gift you can give someone. And I believe that is true. So you give them this very genuine, skilled attention.
Yeah. You really need that. So, when you're starting out and when we're in a transition, and I can say this like, because I am in it. I have been in this transition from Passion Fruit Designs to Berns Bedard lifestyle and business coach since 2012. Well, since 2011. I'm going to say since November 1st, 2011.
Yeah, it was a rocky start too.
It was a very intense, very rocky start, and I'm still in it because it's a process to really carve out and to really get clear on who you are and what you have to offer, and getting over your own limitations and your own fears and your own, for me, perfectionism. Like, oh my God, I have to have everything like just so. And it's like, no, Berns, just go live, hit the button. So I can totally relate to people who are nervous and scared and want to do this big thing that they want to do, but there's just, it's complex. It's like, how do I go about doing it? And what do I do? How and what? And should I click funnel? And what is this? And I don't like selling myself anyhow. I hate selling myself.
Yeah.
I hate selling myself. And somebody brilliantly told me the other day that, because I said to her, it's one of my clients that I had a complimentary call with, Alyssa. She's a brilliant, brilliant young woman. And with the one complimentary call and then a follow-up call, because I said to her, you've been like, she would text me all the time, giving me updates on how, the layers that she's uncovering. And I said to her one day, I said, you are just rocking this. Let's have another call. Let's have another complimentary call. Like, you so have earned this. Like, you've done a beautiful job. And when I sent her my last week or this week, what day is it? Last week, I sent out an email to everybody I've had a complimentary call with, right? It's only been since January. It's like, Berns, shouldn't you follow up with an email? It's like, I follow up with text, but never to promote myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so awkward with that still, I will admit. And I sent everybody an email about my coaching calls, and I put my pricing of my coaching calls down a little bit, or down a lot, so that I could help people who were still in a financially tight space, which a lot of us healers are, because we don't want to charge for what we do.
Right.
Right. It's a thing for us.
It is.
And I messaged her and I said, well, she was messaging me about another breakthrough that she'd had. I said, hey, by the way, I saw that you opened my email. What did you think? Because like, I'm like, is it all right? And she's like, Berns, oh my God, it was an amazing email. I said, okay, good. Because like, I hate promoting myself. I hate that feeling of I'm selling myself. And she said something along the lines of, you, by promoting yourself, are giving other people permission to promote yourself, to promote themselves as well, because you're offering something of such great value.
What a good point.
And it is, right? And it's just like we hear, by me shining my light brightly, I give permission for others to shine their light brightly. That's the basis of so much of our personal and spiritual work, right? Don't dim your light because other people may think like, oh my God, she's selling and it's like, okay, stay over there with your poverty mindset. I'm going to come over here with my abundance mindset.
Yes.
So it's definitely a process. And then just the technical side of how do you get your work out into the world? How do you turn your passion into a profit unapologetically?
Yes. Because probably the second you have apology in you and like any kind of hesitancy and like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, like you're reducing the quality of your work, in people's mind, like they're going to sense that and see it. And so all of a sudden you've diminished your product.
Exactly. Because you've diminished your worth of it, because you haven't connected with and really tuned into how much value you have that's being offered.
Both right? On like a way that the universe is seeing that and reflecting it back at you, but also in this way that I really do believe that people can, whether they're kind of gifted or skilled at it or not, I think people are aware of at some level in them, whatever it is that you're feeling is true in the moment,
Absolutely. It's an unspoken thing. It's vibration.
Right.
It's completely vibration.
It's why a dog will like sense if you're scared at all or nervous at all and come try to like dominate you, or if you're very confident, then they're just gonna kind of leave you alone. Like you don't have to, like, if you're confident or not, that dog knows.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I love this. So is there anything that could ever deter you from kind of following this path of being true to yourself and
just me and all my self-limiting beliefs that I constantly have to work through. I mean, I've worked through a lot of self-limiting beliefs, but it's always there. The only thing that can stop me from truly living the life that I know I came here to live is me. There's nobody else stopping me.
It's a really empowering truth, and it's also a terrifying truth.
It is.
You're like, oh God, now I really have to do it.
Now I really am responsible for everything.
There's no more excuses.
There's no more excuses. And you know what? That in itself can be really empowering, because it's like, okay, so the mindset around success and around truly living the life that you want is something that is really really powerful and really speaks to me, because like I said, I'm in it. I'm in this river of change of all of it constantly, which is really a good thing, because in that I can also help people who are also trying to figure it out, right? As long as you have one chapter ahead of other people, you can help those people who are on the same path as you. You don't have to have it all figured out.
No,
you really don't. As long as you stay committed to, number one, remembering what your purpose is and remembering why you're doing it. What is the value that you're adding? Who is your audience for this purpose that you have, and how can you benefit them by living your purpose, right? Those are the things to keep in mind. And that's what I try to do on a daily basis. I try to remind myself, I'm here to teach other creative geniuses and entrepreneurs how to get their work out into the world through live video and make a profit and understand what is their purpose. Why are they here?
And I
Yeah.
think like, you might be only one step ahead and like helping the people who are kind of coming right behind you. But by doing that, you're also putting that out so that someone one step ahead of you is going to come along to help you
Oh,
too, right?
I have some really great mentors and some people that I do courses with and study with who are, you know, 1 to 10 steps ahead of me. I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to apply what they have. And I'm constantly studying, okay, what's the best information so that I can help other people figure this all out and boil it down for people so that it's in a really easy, okay, do this, then this, then this, then this. Work on this first. Because a lot of times we want to get to the end right now. And
Yes.
we really forget that it sounds so cliche, but it really is about the journey and about who you're becoming.
100%. It's
I'm
that
not ready to,
process.
I'm not ready to be that end person. I'm not there yet. I haven't grown through the process that I need to grow through. And sometimes we want that to hurry up right now so we see the end result. I reverse engineer so many of my successes based on previous successes that I've had. My end game for Passion Fruit Designs was nothing like my starting game. And a lot of times we tend to compare where we are in our start to where other people are in their middle or end.
Yeah.
And we look at it and we go, oh my God, I can never be like that. I can never do that. Like, how did she do that? Like, I can't do that. I'm never going to get there. And it's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Start where you are, but start.
Yes.
Start. Even if it is a matter of, okay, let me go through these processes to figure out what is my purpose? What do I want to focus on? What are my skills? What do I love doing? What makes me truly happy? What am I really good at? What would my friends say is my best trait, my best skill, my superpower? And how can I use that to live my purpose and add value to the world at the same time? As long as you just start with that, even if that is a big, like, I don't know, that's a big blank page right now for me. I have no idea, Berns. At least if you start putting the intention, like how I had that intention all those years before starting Passion Fruit Designs of, I wanna work for myself. I have no idea what that's gonna look like, but I just am setting the intention that one day I'm not gonna be needing to call in sick and to beg for time off
Yeah. It was
and
like,
deal with the politics of education. Education is an enormous organization, and the bigger the organization, the bigger the politics.
it's just, I can't anymore.
I know. I was at that place too, where I was like, okay, I am tapping out. I'm good. I've done what I came to do.
Yep.
I've done what I'm done.
I did what I could. I'm
I
walking away before it all falls apart.
Yeah, and there's so many aspects of teaching that are brilliant and that you are brilliant at. You love connecting with kids. You love showing them. You love watching the light bulbs go on. What
Love
grade
it.
do you teach again?
But currently I've been doing 9th through 12th, but I do 6th
Okay.
through 12th overall.
So that sense of when you see kids get a brand new concept
I love it.
and you see them succeed and you see them enjoy the process of learning, not just what they're learning, but the unfolding of themselves, and you see them grow and you see them, it's so rewarding. And there are so many ways that you can take those same skill sets and craft them into an online product, an online evergreen product. But first comes the work of how do you add value? How do you create a brand, a personal brand for yourself based on that? On the side, while you still are in the process of retiring a little bit from the day job, but to have kind of a little bit, and a lot of people can do this and they don't realize, oh my God, if I knew then when I was doing Passion Fruit Designs and when I was a teacher, what I know now about the power, and if we had it, we didn't have it back then, but if we had the power of YouTube and the power of social media, man, I would have created some kick-ass evergreen products. This would have been one of them.
Yeah.
My newsletters, newsletter templates, curriculum ideas, using different strategies, how to write a sunshine letter to your kids in August before school starts, how to connect with the families, how to connect with the parents so that you are starting on a really happy ground with everybody before the school year starts. Like all of these things. I could have done it with Passion for Designs. I could have done sewing courses online on YouTube. I could have done how to design your fabric, how to get your fabric printed, how to embellish your suits, how to sew your suits, how to make your suits, all for free, and then turn that into an online course that people could buy. I mean, there are people that I follow on YouTube and have been following for 5-6 years that this is what they do, and they're killing it. They're killing it. They're doing an amazing job. And they're making an amazing income because they figured out a way how to turn their passion into a profit and add value.
I'm gonna do it.
You need to do it. I'm starting a beta group, by the way.
Oh yeah?
I am. So a lot of the people that I've been coaching one-on-one on my complimentary calls are in the same place as you and the same place as me. We're in a place where we know we want to follow our passion, that this, what we're doing right now, is sapping us of our energy. It's draining us. It's making us unhealthy because it's creating a lot of dissonance within our body, within our heart center. We have this anxiety. We know that we're not living we know that we're doing what we would have loved to do if it was a perfect world, but it's not. Or some of us are in jobs that we just completely hate and we totally want to go another direction. And people are stuck. They're really stuck. Well, I don't know how to do that. Like, I make pillows. How am I going to make a living making pillows? It's like, it's not by making the pillows. It's by showing other people. It's by inspiring other people. It's by getting your pattern and growing your email list, by giving out free product, extra product that they can only get by, hey, click this link. If you love this pillow that I made, I did not make this pillow, but I bought it from somebody who did make it on Facebook Marketplace, right? How do you take that and turn it into an evergreen product so that you never have to actually make the pillow and spend time at your sewing machine, but you can make money on the fact that you made one?
Yes.
Right? All of these different ways. So I'm starting a beta group with a lot of the amazing women in my my coaching calls, because I've spoken to them and they're like, oh my God, when are you going to do that? Can I get in on that? So I'm starting a beta group where I'm going to be coaching people and showing them, and it's all free so that I can show people, okay, let's do this together. Okay, this week, this is what the homework is. We're defining our purpose. And I want to have a community so that we can come together and share and give each other like clearly honest but loving, non-judgmental advice. Like that you need to narrow down your niche. Your niche is too broad still. Oh, okay, because people don't want to do that. These are all skills that you need to learn. How do you niche it down? How do you get a really clear idea of who are you speaking to? Because if you try to speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody.
That's a good point.
Yeah. How do you show up as your true authentic self, your unique self? Like, look at me. I'm rocking a white and black mohawk right now.
So
which
awesome.
is crazy, right? How do you show up as your unique self unapologetically?
I'm really bad at that.
What's that?
I'm really bad at that. Like, I'm really good at it on this show, I think. I'm really bad at it in my professional life.
Yeah, because there's a lot of expectation of how you should look, what you should say, how you should dress, how you should be, because you got to be a teacher.
Exactly.
You got to fit into this narrow box or else risk getting called on the carpet, pardon the pun, by your administration, right? So even so embracing your uniqueness, how do you do that? How do you figure out what your purpose is? So I'm going to walk amazing creative geniuses through this process of figuring out what their purpose is, putting it out there, the ins and outs of why you should start a YouTube channel and what YouTube is. It's the second largest search engine in the world.
Wow.
Owned by the first largest search engine in the world,
I own
Google.
them both, yeah.
Right? Facebook, Instagram, doing live videos on Facebook is one of my specialties. I love doing that. I remember the first one I did on my 52nd birthday. It was like torture.
Yeah.
It was horrible. No, 51st birthday. And the second day after my birthday, I came back on again. I said, okay, this is when Facebook Live just was released to the public. I said, okay, that was really painful, but I'm going to make it my job to get better at this, because I know I have a message. I want people to hear it. So the thing about Facebook, though, it's not a searchable engine. It's not a search engine. Once your Facebook Live dies down in the news feed, once people have stopped commenting on it, or if you're not sharing it again, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like nobody's seeing it. Whereas YouTube is a powerful search engine. How to make a pillow. You go put that on YouTube and you will find all kinds of things, right?
Right.
How to make a newsletter for my classroom. How to whatever.
Anything that you want to do. There's a tutorial.
And we can, it's fine if you just want to be a consumer of content. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a consumer of content on YouTube, but to become a content creator is a powerful way for us to live our purpose. We can bring what we do and what we love and what we're passionate about to other people who have similar passions. Wow. We can create our own content. We can add value to other people's lives, and we can create an income doing that by adding value. It's just amazing. And I've had a YouTube channel since I think it was 2007 or 2009 was my first one.
That's very early.
It's very early, and I had no clue, and I was aware that I had no clue. I had no clue about any of that. What's this keyword thing? And what's this what? SEO? What? I have no idea. Let me just upload my videos. And I did, and some of my videos still get comments and still get views. Nothing compared to, some of the really popular ones, but some of my YouTube videos have 87,000 views on them.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't even know how that happened. What's that now? What? So I love diving deep into learning about this, because I think a lot of people aren't aware of what YouTube really is.
Yeah. Well, and you doing that, that seeing that process is like, you just started, like you said, and some of it wasn't perfect, obviously, and then you're growing as you go, and see people being able to see that, I think, is really empowering in itself, because like you're saying, so many people are afraid of starting, and so many people are afraid of comparing themselves to like the people who are already seeming perfect.
That's me.
Right.
Me. I'm all of that. All of that. But I'm pushing through, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I can learn this, and I'm going to do this, because why not?
Yeah.
Right. And in the process, I'm vulnerable, and I'm showing people we're learning this, we're figuring this out together. I will do all of the legwork and all the heavy lifting and get all the information and put it together in this beautiful, simple to follow format. Because you guys don't have time to do all that. Like, seriously, if I'm awake and if my boyfriend isn't home and he works construction, and in the summer he works a lot of late hours, so that usually means, he's not home until about 8 o'clock at night, which means I am I've realized now, though, that I have to shut it down at a certain point, because I will constantly be researching and learning and making notes and doing stuff. But now I've actually got to get this show on the road. So it's going to be a fun process. So if you want to jump on my beta group, I would love to have you.
Dude, that would be awesome. Is that something that other people can get involved with too, or are you just offering?
Anybody can jump on. If you have a passion, just send me a message. If anybody has an inkling that they have a side hustle that they want to pursue, or that they want to jump in and do this full time, I would love to have you along, so that we can all learn together, so that we can grow our understanding of how this incredible medium can transform ourselves. We are really on smack dab in the middle of the greatest communication transformation that humanity has ever seen. We can be content creators. We can not just be listening to other people's stuff. A lot of us have aspirations of, oh my God, I want to be a television personality and I want people to hear my voice and I want people to see my work and I want people to be entertained or uplifted by what I have to offer. But I have no idea that that even exists as a thing. When it really does, like when you really look at it, who are we looking at on YouTube?
Yeah.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
true. Oh, that's powerful. Well, I'm glad that's something people can connect with. And how should they find more of your work or get connected with that if that's what they want
Yeah,
to do?
well, my channel on YouTube, oh God, and please don't judge me because it's in the process of I'm cleaning it up.
Oh, see, that's part of the vulnerability that is inspiring.
That's
So it's
the
beautiful.
vulnerability thing, right? I
Mhm.
am my handle on all my social media, so Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, which I don't really do as a thing, but I'm there. It's at Berns Bedard, Berns Bedard, Bedard. Berns is short for Bernadette, by the way. And yeah, you can hit me up, and also my website is bernsbedard.com. And on there you can also sign up for a complimentary one-on-one coaching session to help you with whatever breakthrough you're ready to make or just to connect. And so yeah, I'm around.
That's awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
to see where we can go with that. And I wanted to end with the question of what are you most grateful for, or what are the things that you are grateful for currently where you're at?
Oh my gosh. So gratitude is something that I practice every day. And I actually have well, my gratitude journal here from 2012. I have my gratitude and intention journal over here. So I am grateful for waking up every morning. I'm grateful that every morning I get to wake up not in a hospital bed, like when I woke up from my two cancer surgeries that I've had, one in 2017 and one in 2011. In
Wow.
2011, I had 90% of my stomach removed because
Oh
that's
my
where
God.
the tumor was. And then in 2017, I had 75% of my liver removed. So every day I'm really super grateful that I get to wake up in a beautiful home next to a beautiful man with my family around me. My 16-year-old daughter lives with me, and Dali's parents are here with us from Croatia. So like I start there. I'm grateful for all of my struggles that I have to face. I'm grateful for everything, really. I try to make a practice. I'm grateful for gas in my car every time I sit in my car. Oh, I've got gas in my car. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel so abundant. I'm grateful for the food that I get to eat. I'm grateful for this call with you and getting to know you. I'm grateful just I'm grateful for the fact that I manifested cancer into my life.
Which is a sentence I never thought I would hear anyone say aloud.
Really?
Really, but I see it in you and I see why.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not the way that people would tend to look at that.
Yeah. It has been the greatest teacher. It's been the greatest teacher. It has been the greatest catalyst for my greatest growth. It's been the greatest way that I've been able to really demonstrate to my kids how nothing has to knock you down, right? And that everything is always working out. I'm still here.
Right.
I don't think statistically I should still be here. I'm grateful for cancer coming back last August in 2018, because had it not, I probably would not have been open to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has completely transformed the next level of me.
How did you get connected with Dr. Joe?
Okay, so last August, I was told by my oncologist that I had another tumor on my liver, and at the same insection site that they had removed my 75% of my liver the year before.
Wow.
And it was the second time that I completely lost my shit.
Yeah.
On this cancer journey. I broke down, I cried, I was terrified, I was scared, I was everything. It was horrible. That was last August. And I was driving myself back home from the hospital after a couple hours of crying, and I said, I went deep into myself and I started coaching myself. I'm like, okay, what is freaking you out so much? What is going on? And it's fear.
Mm.
It's fear of the unknown. And it is fear of what might happen. Am I going to die? Is my liver, am I going to be able to do this? And worst case scenario, left, right, and center. What's going to happen with Kaya? All this stuff went through my head. And then I said, okay, you know that you're not guaranteed tomorrow anyhow. You know that you can't predict what is going to happen in your future anyhow. You know that tomorrow it's an unknown. So stop freaking out about stuff that you can't control anyhow. Just stop. Just stop making the worst case scenario happen. And then I said to myself, I have tried everything. I thought I had this under control. I went through the 2017 surgery completely open. My journey is right there on Facebook, all of it. So I give up. I freaking give up. I don't know what to do next. So universe, just show me the way. Just show me the way. Because I don't know. I'm missing something. I need something more. I will be open to whatever you have for me. Just give me something, man, because I don't know. I'm totally at a loss. I don't know where to go from here. And by the time I got home, I had settled myself down enough to the point where I really felt at peace with whatever would happen. I really didn't even talk to my boyfriend about it. Not because I didn't want to talk about it, but because I didn't need to. I was like, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool. The week later, I was dropping him off to work, and I was, as usual, looking through my list of podcasts of what to listen to between here, dropping him off and going to the gym and for my workout. And I was like, oh, I don't feel like listening to him. I don't feel like listening to her. Maybe what's over here? What does Lewis have on? Lewis House. And I scrolled a little bit because I hadn't listened to anybody in a while. And I saw this thing. Who's this Dr. Joe dude? Mind, matter, body, whatever. Okay, let me check that out. And within 30 seconds, I was like, oh, that feeling of, oh my God, this is from God.
This is what you asked for.
This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been asking for, because it tied so closely into the law of attraction principles that I knew as truth. But here was the science behind it. This was the science behind it. And I could feel Dr. Joe. Like I got a really clear sense of him right away, and it was beautiful. And by the time, I think my workout took me 2 hours to do, because I kept rewinding it and I was paying more attention to the podcast than to him. That was last August 2018. And I very quickly just jumped into the work. I did his live stream of the 4-hour pineal gland meditation. So it was a 4-hour meditation. He live streamed it from Toronto, and I'm very close to Toronto. It's my city. I wasn't ready to do the workshop that he had, but I was interested in doing the meditation. So I signed up for the live stream for that. And after that meditation, all day, I was just like, I was a completely different person. And at the time, I was also listening to his book, Becoming Supernatural, on audio. And I said to my boyfriend when he came home, I said, I can't believe how amazing I feel. Like, this is like, I've been up since 4 a.m. I did a 4-hour meditation from 4 to 8. and I have so much incredible energy. And I was just like, oh my God. And I said, I wonder what would happen. How would our lives be different if I were to do this every day for 30 days? Because the live stream, we had 30-day access to it. And I did it. And 30 days after, to the day, was my MRI scan
Oh,
for
wow.
them to have another look inside to figure out what was going on. Because my usual scans were CT scans, but the MRI would give more insight to the doctors. I went in 30 days later after 30 days of 4-hour meditations at 4 a.m., and the cancer was completely gone.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. I was hooked. I continued to do the work. I manifested so many incredible things with Dr. Joe's work. I'd signed up for the progressive online course, and just jobs that I manifested and money that I manifested and going to Cancun that I manifested and helping my boyfriend find his dream job literally within an hour
Wow.
of sitting down and actually doing the work. And then I went to Cancun, and I was invited to be on stage with Dr. Joe to share my testimony. So that
Wow.
we can link that in the show notes here. But it was really powerful. My life has forever been changed. His work really helped me really start taking my coaching and my new purpose, which has all been in the works since that fateful day that I heard those words. This will help you define and clarify your purpose. His work of amongst, cumulatively, but his work was the work that really helped me start stepping into my future self. The meditations, the focus, the understanding that it's our personality that creates our personal reality.
Mm.
And our personality is made up of the thoughts that we think, the feelings and emotions that we have because of the thoughts that we're thinking, a lot of the time subconsciously, 95% of the time subconsciously, right? We're thinking these thoughts, we're not aware we're in a program, but we're in a program, and we're having an automatic emotional response, a chemical response in our bodies to those emotions that come up because of those thoughts. And those emotions cause us to do certain actions, right? That's our personality. It's made up of the thoughts we think, the emotions that we feel, and the choices and behaviors. When you change your personality is when you change your personal reality. And I completely see now, that's why I say cancer has been one of the biggest gifts and one of the things I'm so grateful for, because it really helped me uncover what my personality was that helped create that cancer. And it helped give me power. It gave me my power back. It's like, okay, I'm aware that if I'm in this negative groove that I was in, and as positive and as amazing as I am and always have been, my mind could tend to get into this really negative state of being, right? Complaining, criticizing, finding fault with, as well as the other emotions of shame, guilt, fear, all of it. So had it not been for the cancer, and had it not been for the cancer returning last August to shine a light on, okay, what are the ways that I am being right now that is, I'm either attracting something into my life or I am attracting something different into my life. That realization has been an incredible gift because I'm accountable to me.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very powerful. It's that same thing. It's like the ultimate power, and it's also the ultimate responsibility.
It is. And I love that word, responsibility. Responsibility is our ability to respond.
Yeah.
Right? So if something comes up, you have an ability to respond. And your most important responsibility is to take care of yourself.
Amen.
Right? No matter what is going on around us. we have to take care of ourselves. Even if we feel guilted and pressured into doing something, if we know that doing that thing is not going to benefit us, if it's going to jeopardize our health, our well-being, you need to stand up for yourself and say no. I'll give you a really quick example of this, and then we could.
Oh, no. Go with the example.
My dad had a stroke this week.
Oh my God.
A massive stroke. It's intense, and
I'm so sorry.
thank you. Yeah. He's going through his own river of change, and he's going through his own path. That's fine. But, you know, some members of my family were not at all happy that I did not drop everything and go down to the city to be with him the night that it happened. But I happened to get up. I actually happened to take that call from my sister, and I love her dearly. And I know she's just, reacting as well to her fears of losing dad and all of that.
Right.
But she did not have a good response to that. I had just gotten out of the shower. It was 9:30, it was 10 o'clock. And I was literally like almost passing out. Like I was barely able to even get in the shower. And I said to her, I'm sorry, I can't come. It's like, I can't come right now. And she really had a negative reaction to that. And I knew she would. And I was like, oh my God, how do I break this news to her that I'm not coming at the drop of a hat right now, as serious as it is? Because if I do, I'm going to jeopardize my health. My energy levels, my health are very important to me. I am fine in terms of the cancer and everything. And as far as I know, and as far as I believe, and as what I'm telling myself, it's no longer an issue. But I'm also aware that I have a compromised system.
And if you sacrifice that for something, it can easily come back to bite you.
It really can. Like, I don't need to be, and even she, she mentioned that she had gotten home at 5 a.m. the next day after all this. I would not have been able to survive a car drive to Toronto, never mind the emotion of seeing my dad in such a state, never mind, just the mental and physical and emotional exhaustion. Now, if it was my daughter or my boyfriend, different story. When my daughter woke me up at 3 a.m, when her tonsillectomy ruptured a week after she had this done, which was, by the way, 5 weeks after my liver surgery.
Wow.
So I had open abdominal surgery in 2017 in August. In September, end of September, she had a tonsillectomy, and a week after that, she had this major rupture. She was literally bleeding to death out of her throat.
Oh my God.
Right? That's a different story.
Yeah. You're like, your chemicals kick in and you're like, I'm going to save.
And I took all my backup stuff. I do a nutritional program. We have this amazing vitamin herbal component that we take first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And I put the entire canister in my bag, and I made sure to feed myself that every hour.
Smart.
Because I knew that I needed all the resources to keep calm. I needed all those B vitamins. I needed all of the herbal stuff to keep my nerves smooth, right? Different story. I love my dad, but I knew that I would not have been in best service to him then.
Him or yourself.
Him or myself or anybody else. And I knew I was going to take the flack for that.
Yeah.
And I did. Like, she was not happy.
Yeah.
But I had to say to myself, is doing this thing that I am about to do, am I doing it out of guilt and out of obligation? And is it going to benefit me? And for a lot of people, my sister included, she felt that it's the All About Berns show. And it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to take care of this here, right? And so
that's a nearly impossible reality, I think, for people to be where you are at in order to do that. And very few people are there, because that is ultimate personal responsibility. But it's also that we're so easily given to guilt and
Oh,
obligation,
yeah.
like you're saying, and it's not good for anyone. And like you said, like, how would you help your father in that situation by being there? And how would you help your sister in that situation by being there? Maybe
Yeah.
it would satisfy their momentary, like, feeling that you need to be there, idea that you need to be there, but in reality, would you be helping? Like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the kind of, when we talk about responsibility, our ability to respond even to the guilt trip that came afterwards, and like, she was
Which
pissed.
you knew was coming also, yeah.
I knew it was going to be coming, and I was like, I'm sorry, I have to take care. I didn't say I'm sorry. I said I have to take care of myself. I do, and if you don't understand that, that's fine. But I also told her we might want to edit out some of this just in case she sees it,
Yeah.
or not. I don't care.
Okay.
But I said to her, while you are totally, you know, able to, while you're completely entitled to have your opinion and your judgments about me, I don't need to listen to them. So if you don't
True.
stop, I will block you from my phone. I've done it before, and I
Yeah.
will do it again if this comes up in any conversation anymore.
I love that.
I'm done.
Because you're also not responsible for other people's feelings and responses.
And I told her that. I said, this is how you feel about this decision of mine is completely your choice and completely up to you. Completely up to you. But I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm not, your guilt trip is not working on me. I
Which
can't.
then puts that back in her court where she can then become responsible for herself.
Yeah.
I love that.
If she wants.
If she wants, yeah. If she
All I
chooses.
know is that I'm responsible for myself and for my ability to respond to everything. So if something, and interestingly enough, that third energy center, that third chakra, which is exactly where both of my tumors showed up,
Yeah.
the emotion that is wrapped up within that third energy center is all about shame and guilt and judgment.
Hmm.
So, everything is here as a teacher.
Yeah.
Everything is here as a teacher for us. So letting go of that judgment and that shame, that guilt, you need to do the work. That's why I'm really grateful to know where the cancer showed up and why did it show up and what is my body trying to tell me and what is my body trying to teach me by everything that shows up, right? Why are you here? Why are you here? I am here. I'm listening to you, oh brilliant, wise body of mine. I will try to take in as much of this lesson that I can, because thank you, body, for everything, so that I can learn through this, so that I can become better, so that I can help other people going through similar things, because a lot of us are very much wrapped up in the family guilt.
Yeah.
Right? And doing things out of obligation that we don't want to do. It's actually one of my checklists that I have people work through. What is something that you can let go of that's no longer serving you?
Yeah. I love it. I'm really proud of you for being able to do that, because I do think it's one of the hardest things to be able to take care of yourself, especially in the face of that obligation and
Absolutely.
guilt feeling. And then I also am grateful for that example for myself and for others to
Yeah.
see what that looks like.
Thank you. I hope it inspires people to and to do it lovingly,
Yes.
right?
Right. You're
To
not
do it.
judging. You're
I'm
not.
not. I'm trying. I mean, in the beginning of this whole thing with my sister, there was some of that. Oh, how dare you judge me? But in me doing that, I'm judging her for judging me.
Right.
And then so I just went back to my heart space and I said, listen, she's really upset. She thinks that this night right now might be the night that dad dies, and we should all be there surrounding him with love. And she also is dealing with her own memory of what this is bringing up for her, because she lost her husband 2 years ago to pancreatic cancer after a 2-year struggle in the exact same ICU unit that my dad is in.
Oh, yeah. That's
So there's a lot of stuff that's going on for her, but unless I can be here for myself and for my own with my own integrity, I can't be there to support her anyhow. So you have to do what's right for you. And you have to do it from, like I said, from a place of love. I'm not doing it, I'm not coming because you're just being a la, 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 la,
Yeah.
or I'm not coming because I was upset at dad for blah, 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 blah. It's like, I love you. He's in great hands. He's got you, he's got Kathy, he's got Laverne, his wife. I wish I could be there more. I'm with him in other critical ways. We actually had a co-heal international. We have this international co-heal group with Dr. Joe Dispenza's advanced students that do group cohesive healing non-locally.
Oh, cool.
And we had a meditation session for him this morning. So he
How
was
awesome.
he was the Heelys. Yeah. So there's a lot that we can do for our families with in a non-conventional way,
Mhm.
like going about it in a way that may not line up with how other people think we should be doing it,
Right.
but they don't know what our process is. They don't know why. They don't want to understand, or they want to judge why we're doing it in the way that they wouldn't do it. And it's not about them. It's about how you are honoring yourself, how you are stepping up in the best way that you can, with taking everything into consideration. So that's a really important thing. If more of us did that, we would have a lot less illness in the world.
Amen. I mean, that
Right?
just being responsible for yourself and being able to take care of yourself, it's going to
Yeah.
obviously take care of yourself. You're going to have less illness in you. But like the way that we're talking now and sharing this, then other people are going to see that, and then they're going to think about it, and then they're going to do it for themselves, and then it's going to ripple
Yeah.
out from there. And the same way that you found Joe Dispenza synchronistically and
Yeah.
helped heal yourself. I mean, now
Yeah.
people are listening to that and they're going to go find him, and then they're going to,
Yes,
you
please
know,
do. Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dispenza.com is his website. He's on YouTube as well. My testimonial is on his YouTube channel, and he is incredible at taking the mystical and building in the science. The science is the language of the mystic, the
yes.
mystical. And by understanding how the brain and the body physically work, and how what the neuroscience is behind meditation, and to see the stuff that people have been able to heal and cure in their lives, is profound.
Wow. And I would love, I'll put that in the show notes as well. And then I would love to maybe try to get him on the show. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, that would be amazing. He is pretty incredible.
I bet he's a very busy man as well.
He is a very busy man. He travels, I think I heard something like 300 days of the year.
Wow.
He does almost every month. He does an advanced week-long retreat. I just got back from Mallorca, Spain, which is why I am so seemingly tanned or orange next to my white backdrop here, but I'm also olive skinned.
You're glowing.
I'm glowing. I'll take it. Just a second. I'm just in the middle of something. Oh, you're leaving? Okay, have fun. Love you. Okay. Okay.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah, she's
That's
just leaving to go to we have a carnival fair kind of thing happening down at the park, so she's leaving. Yeah, so he travels a lot. So I just got back from Mallorca, Spain for his advanced retreat. And then I spent 5 incredible days on the Mediterranean Sea in Ibiza. Like literally the beach was like right there. And it was interesting because it was like about as close as my backdrop is here. So that was a fun manifestation.
How amazing.
And he does a lot of other like one-day workshops. He just travels the world helping people just have the life, really have the tools to have the life that they want.
And to help other people do it too.
And to help other people do it too. Exactly.
Well, amen. Thank you so much for your time here today. And fellow travelers of the path, it is a beautiful thing. This has been your electric, concentric, analog dose of wisdom, according to Berns. Berns, thank you so much for sharing with us all today.
You're so welcome. It has been an honor and it has been so much fun. And I can't wait to connect with you more. Oh
Awesome.
my God, you are a star.
Thank you.
You're a star. You need your own channel on YouTube.
I do have one. This show is going on it.
Oh, yeah. Well, in addition to,
Okay.
you are amazing. You're
You.
incredible.
We stumble into truth and depth without ever having noticed we had been headed there all along. We create beauty and profundity just by the very act of living life engaged and aware. We stoke creative fires by first understanding and then sharing our vulnerability. The fragility that makes us so sure of our own failures and shortcomings is exactly the tenderness we need to grow into strength and power. Remember, your softest shoot will be your sturdiest stalk, and as you bloom, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first.
Mwah, I love you.